the Rehabilitation Project Force.
The RPF was what we called it. It was the prison camp where you'd go for reindoctrination.
It was on the 7th floor of the Hollywood headquarters, a confined space to rehabilitate members who might be harboring subversive thoughts. Spanky was sent to the RPF when she objected to the way the church had denied medical treatment to her boss.
I went thinking, of course, this is a big mistake. We were working, cross my heart, 30 hours on, 3 hours off, doing like hard labor, like having wire brushes on windowsills and sanding and sanding and sanding, breathing paint fumes. That regular crew would eat first, and then we'd get what was left. It was kind of like table scraps. There was mattresses out there on the roof, and they were wet and soggy and gross. And if you got to sleep for 3 hours, sometimes you just have to go out there and crash out. And I had a young child at that time who was 10 months old when I went to the RPF. She got taken and put in the cadet org, the organization for the children. And then I got pregnant when I was in the RPF. So now I'm sanding walls and eating table scraps and pregnant and worrying myself sick about my child.
In Spanky's time, the children of Sea Org members were separated from their parents and raised in the cadet org to remove all distractions from their parents' ultimate responsibility, to clear the planet.
Initially, you're like, this is absurd, this is nuts. And then you kind of settle in and go, well, obviously, I need to deal with something that I'm not facing. So perhaps they're doing this to make me better. There's so many bizarre stories that just hard to believe stuff. They asked if I could arrange a private screening of Saturday Night Fever. And I was like, what? I disappeared from this man's life. I abandoned him, and now you want me to arrange a private screening? What do you... I said, is there anything else? Maybe a Beatles reunion.
Travolta had been wondering where Spanky was. When she was sent to the RPF, she was not allowed to contact him or anyone else. But now, under the watch of a guard, she was permitted to call Travolta's assistant.
She said we could use John's personal print of the film under one condition, that you'll see John. I was so excited. I hadn't had dialogue with him for many months. We had the screening of the film, and on the next night, I was supposed to have dinner with Johnny. And after the screening, I was abruptly told I wasn't going to see him, and I needed to call and cancel.
He understood what was happening to Spanky. He didn't do anything about it.
I know that he certainly got exposed to the fact that not everything was on the up and up. He was truly angry at me for having allowed this abuse of myself, you know, and for having that so little of myself, that I would allow this degree of degradation, and he was my good friend, and I knew that he was telling me the truth. Those words were such a wake-up call for me. And I went over there to the cadet org. There were so many sick children in there, and my daughter was very, very ill, burning up with fever, completely neglected, in a urine-soaked crib. Her eyes were so filled with mucus, they were welded shut. She had fruit flies on her body, and I couldn't bear it. I just went, no, I'm done. I mean, I just knew I could make these choices for me. I could decide to give up my life and do this to help the world, but I couldn't make these choices for my children. I just had to get her out. I told them that I was having problems with my pregnancy and I needed to use the phone. So they sent a bodyguard with me. I called one of the few non-Scientologists I knew, a wonderful woman who happened to work for John Travolta. I said, meet me at this address. I gave her a time and I hung up. I go up to my daughter's room and I wrapped her up. And there's the bodyguard with me. I said, oh, my sister-in-law is in that car. She's gonna take the baby to the doctor. He said, well, has this been approved? Of course it was approved. She's in my arms, and I got in the car. My friend, she just nods her head. Boom, with that, I pull my leg and shut that door. She hits it, locks, and we drive, and people are yelling my name. Spanky, no, no. I mean, just freaked out. I'm thinking, I'm a dead person. Something terrible is gonna happen to me. I was just so frightened that they would come to fetch me up.